What's going on, guys? This is Danny from His and Her Tesla, and this is a video that I've kind of been wanting to push out for about a week or two now, but I wanted to collect the data for a little longer. I've been getting a lot of questions about the use of my car. I work from home quite a bit. I don't put a lot of miles on the car, and I kind of have a lot of downtime during the week and on the weekends. So a video came across my feed on YouTube a few weeks back towards the end of January, about is it profitable doing Postmates or DoorDash or Uber Eats? And it was an interesting question because the majority of people who were doing these type of videos didn't really have gas efficient vehicles. They were using, cars that get anywhere between 20 to 25 miles a gallon on average. 25 being on the higher end. Not many people use hybrids or electric vehicles like Teslas or even Nissan Leafs or Chevy Bolts or Volts. So I asked myself, well, how profitable could this really be if your gas expense or your commuting expense is little to nothing? So I started by doing the math over the course of a few days and seeing what the cost would be per 100 miles on my Tesla Model 3. So what I got was I was using about 20 kilowatt hours per 100 miles, which breaks down to, with our pricing down here in Florida, about $2.60 something cents per every 100 miles driven. So I took that data and I said, you know what? That's pretty cheap. If I can keep it efficient and do these services, I can turn a pretty good profit. So I started back at the end of January 28th actually, and I started pretty slow, kind of casually doing one DoorDash. I started mostly with DoorDash, and later on I started doing Postmates to see if it was more profitable or not, and I'll maybe save that for another video, but this was going to mainly focus on DoorDash. So for those who don't know, DoorDash is a food delivery service just like the others. The only catch being you do have to schedule yourself in advance for a block amount of time, and you have to kind of move from point to point, and there's hotspots on the app itself that tell you where it's busier than others, but you do have to pre-schedule yourself. You can't just turn it on and start working like you could with Uber Eats and Postmates. So to go from there, I'm going to show you guys the data for the first week, which was essentially I did it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I only did maybe one dash or two deliveries a day. So for that first week, I made, let me see if you can focus on that, about $67. $67.35 to be exact. That was that first week. So part of it I'm looking down because I'm looking at the data. So for that first week, that's $67.35. I only really worked, I believe it was like 2.5 hours. I'm looking at my notes right now. 2.5. Yeah, about 2.5 hours is what I wrote down that I was actually on the road. Now, I'm not counting the dash block because the blocks can be, like I said, an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes even. And your experience may vary. I'm living in a city where there's many restaurants and fast food restaurants nearby where I can log into my shift and basically just stay home until I get a ping for a delivery and then run out. So I only track using MileIQ, which is an app to track your mileage and your commuting for your tax purposes at the end of the year, so you could deduct those mileage from your taxes. So using that formula, all I had was 2.5 hours of actual driving time where I was out on the road. That includes actually parked as well, whether I'm parked for 5 or 10 minutes at a time, but the time that I'm actually working out on the road, because I don't consider myself being home doing whatever I want to do. Sometimes there was an hour where I wasn't getting, any deliveries during a slow period. So counting just the 2.5 hours, I averaged $26.94 an hour while I was out and about on deliveries for that first week. So I said, you know what? I didn't even put 100 miles on the car. So if you deduct, $1.50 or even $2 off that, I'm still making over $24 an hour doing it. Now, this video is not going to focus on the depreciation of the vehicle, the value of, the mileage that I'm putting on the car, or maintenance costs. Those who have Teslas know there's very little to no maintenance on them, except for tire rotations. And that's something that you can kind of factor in after you've done this for a long period of time, as far as general wear and tear on the car, mileage depreciation. I mean, if those things matter to you and you're not planning on keeping your car, I mean, maybe it's not something you want to do with a $60,000 car. But this is for the people who have a Tesla, have an electric vehicle, want to make some extra money doing very little to no work, and don't really care too much about whatever depreciation you're putting on the vehicle with the mileage. So from there, we went on to the second week. The second week, I ramped it up a little bit more. I made $133.87 that second week. You can see that. So $133.87, and my total actual hours worked, on the road was 6 hours. So for that week, I made $22.31. $22.31 an hour. So the per hour rate went down a little bit. I think I spent a little more time on the road during dead time. I believe this was a kind of a slow week. I didn't do many deliveries, but still over $20 an hour for very little to no work. So from there, I said, you know what, this is pretty profitable. I'm having fun doing it. I enjoy driving my car. I don't drive it as much as I probably should. It just kind of sits during the week when I'm not going to work. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm home a lot. So moving on to the third week, which is just this past week that completed yesterday, which was Sunday. I did $227.55. $227.55. Okay. So I did $227.55, and I believe I worked that week 9 hours. $227.55. I have it written down here. Yes, 9 hours and 20 minutes actually. So just rounding it down, 9 hours, $25.28 per hour is what I made for this past week. And none of these include tips. I'm not even including the tips because I lost track of the cash tips that I received. Those who use DoorDash know that the tips usually are already included in the fee that you receive per delivery. There are some people who don't tip in the app and they like to give you the cash up front. It doesn't happen as often with DoorDash, but it does happen. So I've received, I lost track. I think it was like on average $15 per week in cash tips that I received that are not even factored into this. So if you factor that in, I didn't want to do the math with the tips and count them and go back and remember who gave me what. So I just said, you know what, just on the per delivery fee that I received in the app, I was making over $20 easily on every single week that I delivered. So is it worth it if you have a Tesla or an electric vehicle? I'd say yes. You have to have the downtime. Honestly, like I found no problem at all doing 2 deliveries a day in my spare time. I'd be home watching TV. I'd find a block available between the dinner time rush. I'd turn it on, wait around 30 minutes. I'd get a notice, run over, be back in about 15 to 20 minutes after delivering the order. Pretty quick. Every so often you do run into a delivery where it may hold you up for 5 or 10 minutes while you wait for the food. Those really eat into the profits. But for the most part, you're in and out of most of these places. The delivery locations are relatively close, usually within a 4-mile radius of the pickup location. When I do get notices for far distances where I see that the dollar amount that they're offering is not worth the hassle, I'll decline those. So for those of you who do DoorDash, you don't have to accept every order, and don't pay too much attention to your acceptance rate. The acceptance rate is more of a number that they want to promote as a way to kind of motivate you, I guess, to keep it green, keep it above 80%. Mine is about 83% because I do turn down the BS orders, I call them, which are basically offering you about $7 to $8 for a delivery that's probably about 5 miles away, and it's not worth the time. I mean, it's worth the mileage if you don't care and you have time and you want to go do it. By all means, take those orders. But if you put a value on your time, it's not worth it because I'm not paying the gas to drive that distance, but it is wasting my time for such a minimal amount. So maximize the efficiency of those orders. If you have an electric vehicle, I say go for it. If you have spare time, you're going to definitely make easily $100 a week. Easily. So $100 a week, 4 weeks in a month, $400 a month for doing little to no work. And at the end of the day, that'll pay half your car payment, or most of it if you have a lower car payment. So I'll do a follow-up video explaining in detail some of the wear and tear on the car, if there is any, over the prolonged period of time. And then I'll go into more detail about Postmates, if it's more profitable to do Postmates versus DoorDash in a Tesla or in a Model 3. And more recently, I've kind of started noticing that you do get a ton more orders on Postmates, and the potential for tips is there. You have a high ratio of tips that come 24 to 48 hours after that delivery is made. Because if you use Postmates, you'll notice that the deliveries happen instantly. You get credit for the delivery, and then usually within 24 to 48 hours, you'll see a tip come in. And depending on the order, if it's a restaurant, a high dollar value order, you'll see larger tips. I received a $11 tip the day before yesterday so this was Friday. If you're seeing this video on Monday, I received it actually on Friday night. I received an $11 tip on a $35 restaurant order. So that was nice. They're rare, but you do always see a tip in the average range of about $3 to $5. So that does add up, and you can work on demand. You don't have to fight for shifts like you do on DoorDash. And hey, it's up to you guys. There's easy money to be made doing these kind of e-commerce services like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates. If you like dealing with people, you can do Lyft, Uber. There's plenty to be made. And if you have a Tesla or an electric vehicle, again, like I said many times in this video, it's definitely worth your time if you want to make some extra bucks on the side. Feel free to leave a comment if any questions you may have about this whole process, how it works, how you sign up. I'll feel free to point you in the right direction. If you want to see more videos like this, please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell notification so you get alerted with future videos like this. I hope to do some more on some other services while I have some downtime. And for those of you who've been around and continue to subscribe and follow, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.